All right. So over here, we're up to Zion. The Rebbe explained that the idea to bring down the level of oir in the level of shame. Shame is Helem, name is Helem, oir is Gilui, but shame taps into the etzem. So the idea is to have the gilui in the etzem. But how do you bring down the etzem, which is behelem? How do you bring down in shimcha? How do we bring down in the level of shame that you should be mamshich, the higher level, that it should become begilui? That is when we're mamshich the Atzmus itself, which is higher than Helem and Gilui, that allows the shame to come be Gilui. When you're mamshik, because shame be'etzem is Helem, is obscure. In order for shame, which is Helem, to become Begilu, you have to be mamshik from a place which is higher both than Helem and Gilui. And that is from Atzvus. That's what he says. Zayin. V'hinei, behold, b'chdei sheb'shem, yiyeh gam mailas ha'oir, in order that in the level of shame should also be the advantage of oir. Before we learn the advantage of oir, that it's gilui, the advantage of shame, that it's connected more to etzem. So in order that shame, the etzem, should also have the advantage of oir gilui. Val derech zeh, also we learned the difference, hachibur, the echod v'yochid, that Yochid is Oir, is Gilui, Echod is Helem. In Gilui, there is Yochid, there is no world at all. In Helem, there is a Tzirut Simtsum, it becomes Echod there in existence but a bottle. But in order to get Echod also to be the Bittel B'Metzias, Hu al Yidei Hamshochas Ha'atzmus Shalamaylo Gam Mishem. That is by drawing down the level of atzmus, which is even higher than shame. In order for shame to become oir, to also have the mile of gilui, of oir, you need to bring down from the atzmus, which is even higher than shame. The shame mitzad atzmehu helam, because shame on its own, without mamshichit from higher, is helam. V'i efsher sheyiyeh begilui, and it's impossible for it to be revealed. Can't be revealed because it is be'etzem, it is helam. V'zeh shenimshach begilui, who, and the fact that you bring it out openly, hu al yidei shemamshichim boi ma'atzmus, that is, that you bring down in the shame from the level of atzmus, then you can have the shame begilui. Who brings the level of shame begilui? Who brings down the atzmus so that the shame can be legilui? That is what the Yidden accomplish. By bringing down from the atzmus in the shame. As the Friedrich Rebbe explains, the Yud the Maimer Yud Kislev, Bo behemshech la Maimer divra maschla ta echod the tes Kislev. That was the mimer that followed the mimer of h'tשכט, which he said on Teskislev. Then the next mimer that the Rebbe said, so he explained over there in the following mimer for Yud Kislev, the Zeh Yisrael Nikroyim Mekadeshei Shemecha. The Yidden are called, they sanctify the name of Hashem. What is the meaning of they sanctify the name of Hashem? How do they sanctify the name of Hashem? They sanctify the name in this context means they make the shame, they bring down atzmus in it. Why are Yidden called Mekatche Shemecho? Lefi shehem mamshichim b'Hashem mekedushas ha'atzmus. Because they bring down in the shame from the kedusha of the atzmus, and they bring it begilui. That is the accomplishment that the Yidden do, and that's why they're called mekadshei. They make the shmecha kodesh their mamshich atzmus in the shame. Hamshochas ato kodesh b'shimcha kodesh. They bring down ato kodesh into shimcha kodesh. So we say ato kodesh v'shimcha kodesh, and the mika'amcho ki Yisrael goyechot ba'oretz. Ato kodesh v'shimcha kodesh u'gdoishim b'chol yom yahallelu choselo. So that means that they are mamshich the level of ato kodesh in the shimcha kodesh. So now this is the ability for shame to become begilui is by being mamshich ato kodesh into shimcha kodesh, and that's what the meaning is ato kodesh shimcha kodesh. V'al pi zeh yesh levaer zeh sha'asiyum de tfilos ato echad. The end of the prayer of ato echad that we say by mincha is yagdishu es shemecha. These are the last words of Ata Echad, ושמך אחד, ומילכה עמך כי ישראל גוי אחד בארץ, תפארת גדולו, תפארת ישוע, till it ends, ועל מנוחסם יקדישו את שמך. So what's the connection between being Mekadesh, the Eberster's name, with what we said before, Ata Kodesh, v'shimcha Kodesh? So we started off Ato Kodesh v'shimcha Kodesh. I'm sorry. I meant the prayer from Mincha, Ato Echad v'shimcha Echad. What's the connection between Ato Echad v'shimcha Echad and the end of the bracha with Yagdisha Shemecha? Sha'ashaychus the siyum ha'tefillah. The connection between the end of this prayer, Lahaschaloso hi b'shnei inyonim, is in two matters. That the Zeh Yisrael goy echad, the fact umika amcho ki Yisrael goy echad, the fact that the Yidden are a goy echad, mamshichim, they draw down liyos ato echad v'shimcha echad. They accomplish, that's his yagdisha shemecha, they accomplish that in the shimcha should be also the level of echad. Ato echad v'shim ba'ofen shebe echad yeshna gam hagilui the yochid kinal sivov, in such a way to bring down that in the level of shimcha should be the level of atzmus, should be the level of the etzem. Ato echad should come down in shimcha echad, that in Shimcha, as the Rebbe said, the main maila is when the Shimcha comes begilui. So how does this happen? Hu al yidei hamshochas koyoch ha'atzmus. That comes through the atzmus, like we said when we bring down. That's what it means, yagdishu as shemecha. The Yidden are mekadesh the shame. They bring down the level of Ato, the level of Atzmus, so that the Shimcha should be Begilui. That's Yagdisha Shemecha, number one. Number two, V'alidei sheYisrael goy echad, mamshichim Ato echad, v'shimcha echad. And when Yidden do this, then they bring down Ato echad, shimcha echad. That brings to Kiddush Hashem b'poil mamish. V'alidei zeh nase Yagdisha Shimcha b'poil. When Yidden are mamshich, and their mamshich, as the Rebbe will explain, through their Mesiras Nefesh, then they actually sanctify the Eibishter's name. We know when it's called Kiddush Hashem, you sanctify the name. When you give up your life for the Eibishter, that's called Kiddush Hashem. You're sanctifying the name of Hashem, because the level of Kiddush Hashem from Mesiras Nefesh, that is the that brings about that level of bitla, as the Rebbe will explain, brings about the hamshachas ha'atzmos. So the second thing is Val Yidei sheYisrael goy echad mamshichim Ato echad v'shimcha echad. Through the fact we start off, we say Ato echad v'shimcha echad. Al Yidei ze nase yagdisha shimcha bepoil. They actually sanctify the Eibish's name in actuality. Hamshachas Ato kodesh v'shimcha kodesh, to bring down the Kedusha of Hashem in the Shimcha Kodesh through the Mesiras Nefesh. K'mevur b'hamaimer dibra maschil Ato echad debal ha'hilula. As explained in the Maimer, the Ramaschil Ato echad of the Bal ha'hilula, which is the Yortzeit on Keslו of the Mitler Rebbe, when the Rebbe was saying this Maimer, the Inyan Val menuchosam yagdishu ושמך שבסיום tfilas Ato echad, that when in the end of the bracha, we say Val menuchosam yagdishu ושמך שבסיום tfilas Ato echad, hunayle yoiser mikol ha'inyonim shalifnei zeh. That is a greater than all the matters that it talks about beforehand. Ato echad shimcha echad mikamcha Yisrael goy echad ba'oretz. Because when we do yagdishu ושמך Mesiras Nefesh, it's the highest level, higher than all the level. Than Ato Kodesh, the Shimcha Kodesh, is the level of Mesiras Nefesh. Ches. Umamshich b'hamaimer, the h'tשכט, that's the next maimer that the Rebbe is quoting here, that the Rebbe quoted here. The zeh sheYisrael nikroyim b'shem mekatshei shmecha, that the Yidden are called mekatshei shmecha, Shayich gam lo zeh sheYisrael meisrim nafshom al kiddush Hashem. What are they called over there? They're called Yisrael mekatshei shmecha. Why are Yidden called mekatshei shmecha? That also is connected to the fact that Yidden give up their life on kiddush Hashem. V'chein hu gam b'maimer hanal de bal ha'hilula, the inyan yagdishu eshmecha hu Mesiras Nefesh al kiddush Hashem. The idea of they sanctify the name, that's the idea of sacrificing for kiddush, to sanctify the Eibishter's name. That why are Yidden called mekadshei shmecha? We can learn mekadshei shmecha, they make the name Kodesh because they're mamshich from the level of Ato Kodesh Shimcha Kodesh. But in this context, mekadshei shmecha means that Yidden make the Eibishter's name holy when they are ready for Mesiras Nefesh. Shkam lezeh sheYisrael moisrim nafshom al kiddush Hashem. V'cheinu gam b'maimer hanal. Also in the above Maimer, the Bal ha'ilula, the Inyan Yagdishu Shemecha, this is Yud Kislev. This is also in the Maimer of Keslו, that what is the idea Yagdishu Shemecha, who Mesiras Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem. That is the self-sacrifice al Kiddush Hashem. They sanctify the Eibishter's name by Poshet in the very literal sense. When you have Mesiras Nefesh, you make the Eibishter's name holy because you give up your life, and it shows, it represents the Kedusha of the Eibishter's name, that you're even ready to give up your life. V'yeshloimar. So the Rebbe says, Sha'ashaychus d'shnei hapirushim. So the Rebbe said we can say that the connection of the two interpretation b'yagdishu ושמך. What do we teach in two ways? Yagdishu ושמך. First, Mesiras Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem. Poshet, self-sacrifice for Kiddush Hashem. And then v'hamshochas ato kodesh b'shimcha kodesh. And then to bring down the level of Kedusha, of ato, of atzmus in the Shimcha Kodesh, or to bring down Kedusha in the Shimcha Kodesh, who ki bichdei lehagia u'lahamshich mibechinas ato Kodesh, in order to reach and to able to draw down from the level of ato Kodesh. That's the level of atzmus shalamaylo megeder v'helem v'gilui, which is higher than Helem V'Gilu. It's higher than Echad and Yochid. It's higher than Shem and Oir. We have to get to the higher level. Tzorich liyois betachlis habitl. So you have to be total bitl. You have to be ready for Mesiras Nefesh, which is total bitl, in order to make Ato Kodesh to come down Begilui into the Shimcha Kodesh. And therefore, Yagdishu Hashemecha, it means Umesiras Nefesh Hitachlis Habitl. That's the ultimate bitl, giving up your life, meaning ultimate subjugation to Hashem. So the way we get to Ato Kodesh, to come down to Shimcha Kodesh, you have to be Mekadosh Hashem. You have to have Mesiras Nefesh, which is total bitl. V'yesh loimar, we can say the Zeu Gam Hatam Al Zeh. This is also the reason she'inyan ha-Mesiras Nefesh nikra b'shem Kiddush Hashem. It's called sanctifying the name. So in Pashat, you're sanctifying the name because the Eibishter gets sanctified. People see that you have Mesiras Nefesh for the Eibishter. So that's one way to sanctify the name of Hashem. But the other way, interpretation, Mekadesh Hashem, you're sanctifying the name because you're bringing down from the level of Atzmus. Ki al yidei ha-Mesiras Nefesh mamshichim b'Hashem mikedushas ha'atzmus. Through Mesiras Nefesh, you bring down in shame from the kedusha of atzmus. So that's why is the connection that when you have mekadshe shemecha, that you have Mesiras Nefesh, then you could mekadshe shemecha bring down from the kedushas ha'atzmus into the shame, from the level of Ato Kodesh in the Shimcha Kodesh, so that we become the level of Yakdishu as Shemecha, you make your name Kodesh. Valpia Yadua, and based that it's known, Shavoidas ha'odom shal yodo nasis hamshocha, tzricha liyos me'ein hamshocha. That the work that the person does, in which he accomplishes the hamshocha, that work, tzricha mein hamshocha, it has to be something of that hamshocha. So what we're bringing down, so the avodah needs to have some in it. Yesh loimar. So we can say the shnei ha'inyonim shebeha hamshocha the yagdishu as shemecha. These two ideas that are what comes down, that we make the Eibishter's name holy. Two ideas, which is, first of all, ha'hamshocha ma'ato kodesh b'shimcha kodesh. Just that from ato kodesh to shimcha kodesh, number one. And number two, ba'al yidei zev, shal yidei zeh nase gam b'Hashem inyan hagilui, and that through the hamshocha also becomes revealed in the shame that the shame gets the mile of oir. Yesh dugmosom b'ha'avoida des mesiras nefesh. So in this service that we do mesiras nefesh to bring down these two parts of Ato Kodesh in Shimcha Kodesh, and that it should be revealed is in the avodah of mesiras nefesh that brings it down. The hamshochas ha'atzmus, we bring down atzmus who al yidei habitl the mesiras nefesh canal. That is through the bittul, the mesiras nefesh, in the avodah, giving yourself total up. The total bittul brings down the level of atzmus ato kodesh. The bezeh shenase behashem helam inyan hagilui, and the second aspect that in the shame becomes the gilui, who al yidei, that is through the part of the mesiras nefesh, and mesiras nefesh bo hayichido, that in mesiras nefesh the person's yichida, the highest level of the neshama, helam shalamayla megilui, that's a helam above of gilui the gilui into revelation. In the avoida of the yid, he taps into his yichida, which is beyond gilui, and makes it revealed. It comes in a revealed way. That brings about that the atzmus, which is higher than gilui, should come be gilui. When do we practice this level of yichida, that it should be open in the avodas ha'odom, through which we will get the gilui of atzmus in the level of shame? When does this happen? So the Rebbe says it happens all the time technically, because anytime we do a mitzvah, we have to do a mitzvah with mesiras nefesh. So it basically means that we always have that level of yichida working, which brings down the yagdishu ושמך, to bring it down, that it should be that it should be begilui, the level of mesiras nefesh. Yesh loymar b'apia mavur b'tanya. Based on explaining time, that the observance of Torah mitzvahs hinges sheyizkir tamid inyan mesiras nafshe laHashem, is to always remember your self-sacrifice to Hashem. Yesh loymar, so we can say, shal yidei zechiras inyan hamesiras nefesh. When we remember mesiras nefesh, which gilu hayichida, hugam bedargis haprotiyus shebaodom. Because over there it says, all Torah mitzvahs, in order to do it, you need to have mesiras nefesh, remember mesiras nefesh. So that means that whenever we remember mesiras nefesh, the revelation of yichida, also bedargis haprotiyus shebaodom, in the detailed levels of the person, within his detailed level, sha'idei zechiras inyan hamesiras nefesh, when remembering mesiras nefesh, nase hagdola v'hoisofa b'kiyum ha'torah mitzvahs. And those are details when the person does the mitzvahs with his mind, with his heart, with his action, all the mitzvahs that comes through remembering mesiras nefesh. And the way to do those mitzvahs properly is by remembering mesiras nefesh. So that means that everything has the gilu yichida in all the details and all the work of the person. So the yichida by the person's avodah impacts all the details of the work of the neshama, what he utilizes to do all kiyum Torah mitzvahs. You have remember mesiras nefesh, which is the essence. But by zeh, which is the level of yichida, by zeh gam hagilui shenase b'Hashem. So also the level of gilui, which the avodah causes in the name of Shimcha, the ato in the Shimcha, huloi rak gilui beklolus. It's not just a general revelation, elagam bedargis haprotiyus, also in the very detailed steps, they all get infused by the Ato Kodesh. Matzchil medalet hadargis shebetefila, to starting from the 4 level steps in the davening. Ato echot kimevur ba'arucha b'maimer and al debal ha'hilula. These are the 4 steps of the in the davening, which represent the 4 specific levels. To the extent that gilui that is in the oilomais, in the 4 oilomais, later on it comes down also openly ba'olam hazeh hagashmi, also in this physical world. To the extent that v'yeda kol pol ki ato pe'alti, every creation will know, all creations will know that Hashem is the one that made them. Ato pe'alti, that Hashem is the one that made them. U'be'olam azeh atzmai b'hatachton sheboi, and in this low world, within the lowest world, we're bringing down basically the atzmus, that it starts with all the higher levels, the 4 levels of atzilus, but then it comes down into this physical world until v'ro kol basar yachdav. This is the lowest within Olam Hazeh. All flesh will see together kepia daber v'ayadiber, that it's the mouth of Hashem diber. That's the giluyim that happens through the Torah mitzvahs that we do, which is all done with Mesiras Nefesh, from the Tanya, the Yizker, which is the level of Yechida, which involves all Avodah. Same thing is the giluyim come down. That Ro kol bosar yachdav kepia v'ayadiber, shegam habosar. It says all flesh will see. Lo yirak einei bosar elagam habosar asmai. We're not talking just the eyes of the flesh, the physical eyes, but the flesh itself, not even the eyes. Yira will see shekol mitziusei. He will recognize, he will appreciate the fact, he will see that his entire existence, hu advar havaya shemahava oisei b'chol rega ma'ayin liyesh, is the Dvar Hashem that creates him every instant from ayin to yesh. The same thing is as a yid. This is the avodah that the yid is mamshich from Ato Echad in Shimcha Ato Kodesh in Shimcha Kodesh to bring down the level of atzmus in the world. But the negeya to the yidden, the same thing. Shayodum nase gilui zeh. Through them, this gilui takes place. Yakdishu ושמך, שגם בדרגס הפרוטיus da neshama, that also in this detailed levels of the neshama, yumshach hagilui, the etzem neshama, the gilui of the etzem neshama gets extended. Yes, the yidden works through remembering Mesiras Nefesh, but he in turn brings down the level of Ato Echad into all the levels, into the Ato Kodesh, into all the levels. So later on, it impacts this world in Tachta Menu and also in all the detailed levels of the neshama, that Yumshach Hagilui, the Etzem HaNeshama, should bring down the revelation of the essence of the neshama, v'ad, to the extent like Gilui, the Etzem HaNeshama, Kemoshi Meshereshes Ba'atzma, the revelation of the essence of the neshama as it's in its highest level, as it's rooted in Atzmos. Even that level, in the highest level of the neshama, which is Yisrael U'Malko Bil Chidoyi, which is just the Yidden and Hashem alone, that too should be brought down in all of the details. So what the Rebbe explained over here, that the Yidden have a big part in accomplishing. We talked about oir, and we talked about shame. We talked about the mile of oir and shame, and mile of shame over oir. Shame is gilui ha'etzem. Oir is shame is etzem, but it's not gilui. Oir is not the etzem, but it's gilui. And we talked, that's the echod and yochid, and we talked about the advantage is that Yochid should come down in Echad, that the level of Oir should come down in the level of shame. How does that happen? That happens Yagdishu ושמך through the avodah of Yidden. So there's two parts. There's one part to bring down the Ato Echad into Shimcha, and then it's for it to become Begilui. And Begilui also comes through the actual level of Mesiras Nefesh. And then the Rebbe brings down Mesiras Nefesh is not only a one-time occurrence. Mesiras Nefesh is in all Torah mitzvahs and all the details, because the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya, wherever we need to remember Mesiras Nefesh, because that's when the Torah mitzvahs are done properly. So that means that level of Mesiras Nefesh, which is the level of Yechida, needs to be in all the details. So we have in the Avodah of the Yid, we have this coming also Begilui, that the level of Yechida, it also comes to Begilui, and the Gilui comes in all details. Same thing is the Hamshocha, from when it comes down in the four levels of At Echad, Shimcha Echad, until it comes down in Elam Hazeh, it comes down in the lowest levels, Yeda Kopol, and in the person, it comes down in all his details, so that the Gilui of Yechidah and the levels of Atzmus, which is the highest of levels, comes down to all the details and all the pratim of the Yidden, Yisrael, and Malka B'chidoyim. Okay, you need to go over this part again a little bit. It's some lofty inyonim over here, but we did what we could over here. And we shall continue. Bezras Hashem. Tomorrow another one.
Bye-bye.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.